Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Raj K Gopalakrishnan, who is the founder of Kogo Tech Labs, which is India's first AI powered agent OS. Hi, Raj. Welcome to ELI.
Hi, Priya. Thanks so much for having me.
So, Raj, before we start, I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about your venture.
You already told them my name. So, hi, guys. Pleasure to be here. My name is Raj Gopalakrishnan, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Kogo. Kogo is essentially a AI agent OS or an AI agent operating system. Now, to explain to people, there's a lot of confusion about people about artificial intelligence, Gen AI, ChatGPT, and so on, right?
Right.
So the moment you say AI, everybody says, Acha, AI means ChatGPT. That's not AI alone.
Mm-hmm.
AI is defined into multiple layers. Okay. Foundational models, which is like Gemini, ChatGPT, Anthropic, Mistral. These are foundational models. Think of them like the engine of a car. Now, can the engine of a car take you from point A to point B? No, it cannot. For you to go from point A to point B, what do you need? You need the engine. Then you need tools. You need the tire, you need the clutch, you need the steering wheel, you need fuel, you need the body of the car. When you put all of these, think of them as tools and connectors, okay, that connect to the intelligence, which is the SLM or the LLM or the foundational model. Now, when you put all of this on top of that engine, you get a car. Now, can the car take you from point A to point B? Still, the answer is no. You need a driver with a route map that can tell you that this is how you go from point A to point B. The driver, the route map, the car, the tools, the tire, the steering wheel, the seat, and the engine together is what an AI agent is. So, an AI agent is a layer on top of intelligence that can interact with tools and connectors, and then it can reason like a human
Mm-hmm.
being. It can reason. So, there's a concept called chain of thought or tree of thought, right? It can reason, it can review, and then it can interact and act autonomously to complete a task for a business.
Mm-hmm.
That is what an AI agent is. Now, we need to explain this so that people understand what we exactly do. Building AI agents is a complex process. You will find a lot of companies. Somebody's built a customer service AI agent, somebody's built a researcher agent, and so on. But agents specifically for large enterprise need to have the ability to do certain things. What we've done in Kogo is we created an operating system where, with no code or low code, you can build, deploy, and manage millions of AI agents. We are LLM agnostic, so it doesn't matter what the intelligence is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have over 1,000 connectors and tools, and we keep building more and more tools. So, which means that an AI agent needs to talk to a booking system, an AI agent needs to talk to a payment system, an AI agent needs to talk to your email. So, take a typical example. If you were to be able to talk to an AI agent and say, can you book my ticket for a flight to San Francisco tomorrow? Right now, the agent, the AI agent, and this cannot be done by a foundational model, this has to be done by an AI agent, will be able to firstly get your preference, understand your preference, reach into a booking interface, make a booking, give you the price, give you a payment code, take the money from you, confirm the money has been received, and issue the ticket to you in your email inbox.
Mm-hmm.
If AI can't do this, what is the point of AI? But to do this, you need AI agents. Now, to build this is very complex, right? So, what have we done? We have created a platform where you can build these AI agents. I know you said give an introduction about your business, but this is necessary for people to get a context of how AI is differently divided. And these are not apps, these are agents. So, even in apps, when you want to use AI, you can use it via an API, which is basically an agent, which is an API.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thanks for setting the context. I think this was absolutely necessary because many of our audience do not understand AI fully. Like you mentioned, when you say AI industry has generalized it for Chat GPT, and everybody starts thinking AI means it's a large language model. But there are a lot of further work that happens on top of LLMs, and they are necessary for setting up the guardrails, making sure the AI speaks the brand voice and so on. Having said that, can you define these small items that you have placed on top of the foundational models to make sure? So, when you speak of guardrails, what are the use of guardrails, and what is the use of brand voice, data governance, data sovereignty, and so on?
So typically what happens today, these are public models, right? So when you talk to an enterprise has a lot of data uh, which is private, which is secure, which is PII, and they don't want this data to be in the public domain. But
Hmm.
today, when you converse with a public LLM, what essentially happens is that your data is also exposed, right? So the first thing that we have done is that we built a very robust data governance layer. What this does is that it redacts and ensures that no PII or information goes out into the public domain. This is only and only if we are using a cloud-based LLM. This is not the case in when we're on a private cloud or on-prem.
Hmm.
There, while the data governance layer is already there, it's already anyway air-gapped, and you're not pushing your information out in the public.
Hmm.
So one is that's what a data governance layer does. It protects your information. It keeps it secure. It keeps it private, right? It decides what information should be going out, what should not be going out. The second is guardrails. Now, when you're talking about brand voice guardrails, you are also specifically referring to conversational AI
Hmm.
platforms.
Right.
AI is not all conversational, right?
Okay.
AI is multiple things. There are processes. Like, for example, we're doing something which is automated the complete, uh, 42 insurance processes which run in a chain, right?
Hmm.
Now, for these 42 processes to run from one to another, it requires a certain amount of reasoning and a chain of thought and a decision to be made before one process goes to the next, to the next, to the next, right? This autonomous passing from one to another, this is not conversational, but it requires intelligence, right?
Hmm.
So coming back to your question of guardrails essentially are being put for conversational AI agents where it shouldn't steer off course. So if I am a uh, financial portal, right,
Hmm.
and I'm using AI, then if I ask them for the recipe for cake, it should say, I'm sorry, I don't know the recipe for cake. However, if you ask me about derivatives and funds, I would be able to make, a
Hmm.
recommendation, for example. So guardrails is something that's very important. Guardrails too is hard baked into Kogo when you build these AI agents. So you are able to just drag and drop guardrails, define guardrails. All of this is there as part of the operating system, right?
Okay.
The third is brand voice. Brand voice is a function of hallucination management and, of course, guardrails, etc., etc. Which means that if I ask, let's say, a Samsung question, and the intelligence asset belongs to Samsung, and I say, but I like Sony better. Tell me about Sony TVs. It should be able to say, I'm sorry, I would not be able to answer that question. So all
Hmm.
of this is all tackled with different mechanisms and different algorithms which are built into our platform.
Got it. The other question I wanted to ask was of some of the use cases, if you can give examples of some top use cases, top three use cases your platform has been able to solve, and which industries they're applicable in. It would help us relate even more to your platform.
So I will give you three examples of, I'll give you something which is mid-market,
Hmm.
give you something which is enterprise process, and I'll give you something which is manufacturing. Okay. I'll just touch upon them very cursorily.
Sure.
Let's start with manufacturing. Now, in manufacturing, the MD of one of the largest companies in the plastic industry in India wants to know three things. One is they want to know what is the predictive maintenance as the assembly lines in the factories run. What is the predictive maintenance that can be done? Which basically means that the machine is running, and I know that is the core temperature of the machine going too much? Is it misfiring? Is there some problem that I can address while the machine is on? Now, how we do this is we get data from the machine, sensors come into the AI preventive maintenance agent, and then it's able to get all of that input, reason, and then immediately. So, one is it's talking to the machine on one side, right? So, it's understanding what the machine is saying. Secondly, it's also getting a lot of input in terms of sensory input. So, it's also computing and understanding and analyzing that sensory input. It's taking what the machine is saying, sensory input, and actually giving you a deep insight, and then understanding your intent that this is something that you need to do for predictive maintenance, and would say you need to stop machine number 7 on assembly line number 9 right now and change XYZ component of the machine, right?
Hmm.
So this takes care of predictive maintenance. Okay. The second thing is the MD of the company also wants to know what is the output of the machine, right? Real time. So they've got 28 factories. They want to know what is the output of, let's say, the machine that manufacturer manufactures black plastic dye, right?
Hmm.
So any machine that is manufacturing black plastic dye, firstly, the agent is able to identify which those machines are across those factories. Okay. Is able to also see what is the output that is coming out, and then is able to real time across the board give data that today we've made so much in such and such batch number. And then if he wants to check that batch number as to which customer it's gone to and how much of which batch was actually sold the most, he can even do that. So this is an end-to-end agentic framework of predictive maintenance to business intelligence within a manufacturing setup. Okay.
Got
The second is travel agents. There is still a lot of business that is run through local travel agents.
it. Hmm.
Someone calls a travel agent and says, I want to do a 15-day trip with my family in Himachal or in Rajasthan, let's say. Okay.
Hmm.
Can you please make this trip for me? I am coming from Bangalore.
Hmm.
Now, the travel agent firstly has to find flights, has to create an itinerary, has to
Hmm.
find flights, has to find local transportation options, has to find things to do in each of the places, hotels, suggest places they can eat, suggest things they can do, right?
Hmm.
Where to stay, how to get there, what are the places, what to do, and then stitch this entire thing, give photos, and give him cost options, right? So we created a AI itinerary planning and proposal making agent for the travel industry.
Hmm.
So all a travel agent has to do says that I have a customer, Priya, who wants to do a 15-day Rajasthan trip with his family of four. They want it to be a historic trip. They like adventure activities, blah, 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 blah. Enter. The agent goes, finds the best route, finds the direction that they should go to, finds the flight,
Hmm.
finds the hotels, finds the activities, makes them into an itinerary, lists the entire thing, puts photographs, puts rentals, puts the entire cost together, gives the entire proposal ready made to the travel agent to be able to give it to his customer. Now, normally a travel agent takes about 4 hours to make a proposal like this.
Hmm.
We've reduced it to 40 seconds,
Wow.
right? Second example, right? So this is a mid-market example. The third is what I mentioned to you about insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are 42 processes. Now, every process going from point, let's say process one to process two, it will only go from process one to process two if process one is complete and it has been validated. Now, the current validation has to happen via manual intervention.
Hmm.
Okay. What we have done is that we have made that manual intervention autonomous.
Hmm.
What this does is that they have 20 people who are doing this process. And because this manual intervention is there, this entire 42 processes takes about 3 hours.
Hmm.
Now, because we've made it autonomous, this entire process has been reduced to 2 minutes.
Right.
And these 20 people now sit at the end of the processes and just say, okay, correct, validated, validated, validated. So the human in the loop is there, right? And we have basically made them, given them the superpower of AI to actually reduce a process from 3 hours to 2 minutes. And all these people who are actually just looking at validation are now taking more strategic decisions and also processing these claims much faster. So all
Hmm.
the backlog is gone.
Got it.
So three very distinct use cases for you.
Understood. Now, after understanding the use cases, I understand there are multiple categories of agents that are there in your platform. For example, you gave the example of predictive maintenance, which I am assuming it uses machine vision and video AI sort of thing. And then there is analytics AI, conversational AI, fraud detection AI, travel AI, and so on. But all of these agents should be using multiple foundational models. For example, a generative AI model would be used for, say, conversational AI, or maybe a travel AI. But whereas for predictive maintenance, it would be using machine vision or something else. So, can you give us a list of how which all models, foundational models, are you using to build the AI agents on top of it, and which are the companies who are providing you those technologies?
No, so we are foundational model agnostic, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we have a deep partnership with Google Cloud Platform, with Azure, with AWS Bedrock. So we work with all of them. We work with all of the foundational models. For a particular application, you depending on what the end customer wants or the SI who's building it for the end customer wants, they can use any of these foundational models. Okay. This is as far as the foundational model is concerned. But what really is used a lot, the foundational model is one, but
Mm-hmm.
what really the magic sauce really is what is known as the agent graph. The agent graph is what is proprietary to Kogo, right?
Mm-hmm.
The knowledge graph is proprietary to Kogo, which is what says, now use the model, now call this function, now use this tool. So the magic is there because of all the tools. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when you're talking about a vision API or you're talking about machine coding, all of these are tools that are built into the Kogo platform. So, uh, think of it like a buffet of tools, right? You want to make a car, so you need a larger spanner, you need this kind of nut, and you need something like this. Those tools are available. Take it in your bucket and start building something else. You want to make a microphone, you need a small screwdriver, you need a eyepiece. Those tools are available. So for whatever the agent needs, regardless of the vertical application, these tools are available and these capabilities are available. Now, when I say capabilities, let me try and humanize this as much as possible. All right. What is it inherently that an agent can do? Firstly, an agent can see.
Hmm.
Okay? It can detect objects, it can understand color, pattern, variation, size, and so on. Okay. So it has vision.
Mm-hmm.
Second is it can understand human intent in multiple languages. So it can understand what you're saying. Okay.
Hmm.
It has comprehension. It has vision. It has comprehension. The third is it can collect data, whether it is structured or unstructured, whether it's in a document, whether it is a RAG pipeline, whether it is live on the internet through an API, it doesn't matter, right?
Hmm.
It can collect data. Now, these other qualities that we spoke about, like vision, for example, right?
Hmm.
Imagine you need to do an agent that does document management.
Hmm.
Going back 100 years, you want to put all your contracts in place. Now, those contracts are all handwritten.
Hmm.
All you need is a scanned copy. Vision will enable the ability of actually collecting data by taking handwritten contracts and converting them into a digital format and reading them, right? So it can collect data. Then it can analyze all of this and create insights.
Hmm.
And while it's creating these insights, it can interact in any language and it can interact in any medium. So these agents, they work on the internet, as in on a website. They can work inside a chat. They can work inside an app. They can work over voice. So you can have these agents working over voice. They can work on WhatsApp. They can work on social media. These agents can be plugged in anywhere or in all of these places at the same time,
Hmm.
right? So they can also interact. And finally, when you can comprehend, when you can see, when you can collect, when you can interact, and when you can analyze, then you can take an action. So they can take real world action. They can edit, update, pay, share, or do any action that's on any touch point or workflow. And that is what really enables these agents to do this. The foundational model is always one. That is
Hmm.
for intelligence. But really, from that intelligence, to then be able to do all of this is what the tools and these capabilities ensure that these agents are able to do. I
Got it.
hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Uh, Now, the last part of your answer, you said the agents can also take actions
Hmm.
based on whatever analysis they have made of a problem statement. So sometimes it happens like the actions can be errors. Some AI also makes errors, and that is why
Absolutely.
the guardrails are there. So what framework or what uh, is there any um, way to counter those errors? How is your platform solving that problem?
It's a very simple solve. It's a human in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as simple as that. So you have to understand, take driverless cars, for example, right? There are levels of autonomy, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's level 1 to level 5 autonomy. Level 5 is completely autonomous with absolute intelligence, right? However, even AI applications, agents, and the entire framework today treads cautiously and is only near level 1 and level 2 autonomy. Even in the insurance use case that I gave you, there is a human in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Human in the loop gives the final go ahead. So what these agents do is they save enormous number of time, amount of time and effort and all of that, right? But what they also do is that when a human goes and says this is okay, there is reinforced learning.
Mm-hmm.
You have reinforced human learning and human in the loop to ensure that as far as enterprises are concerned and sensitive areas are concerned, these errors are not made. There are also other aspects of, so there is a concept called observability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Observe every action, and you have something called what we term as distraction, not hallucination, distraction.
Okay.
Errors happen because the agent model workflow tool is distracted by something. So we
Mm-hmm.
observe a lot of the distractions so that you can see that what will keep the agent on track, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these distractions are, of course, observed through a technology layer as well, and reinforced human learning and human in the loop.
Understood. Uh, Curious to know how you price to your customers, because each of the agents consume different amount of computing power, and you cannot have a same pricing for all the categories, different categories of agent that is on your platform. So what is the pricing model that you follow?
It's very simple. You load a wallet, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It works. So we're a platform as a service.
Mm-hmm.
So you load a wallet, and every agent for every query. So let me put it in the way of a SaaS model, let's say, right? Per thousand requests, a SaaS charges X number of dollars or cents, right? The same way here, per automation run or per query, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are X number of dollars that the agent charges, which you rightly said. Each agent may consume X number of dollars. You charge the wallet, you put
Mm-hmm.
in, let's say, for example, $100. Your agent uses 20 cents for one interaction, another agent uses 10 cents for one interaction, and it just keeps getting deducted from. And you're able to see. So we've got
Oh, okay.
transparent pricing. You're able to see upfront. Before you start an agent, you're able to see this consumes about approximately 10, between 10 to 12 cents per automation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to see that, and you have predictability of cost as well. So, yeah, that's how it works. Now, this is for a cloud model. For an on-prem model, it's pure licensing
Mm-hmm.
because it's a platform as a service. So you license the platform.
Got it. Uh, One thing I read on your website, which is the Human First Manifesto by Kogo. So, can you explain that to us, how you value humans? And I think there is a saying on your website that you want to reduce the human effort, but at the same time, you want to increase the amount of earning per human. Tell us a little bit about it.
I am so glad you asked me this question. Our tagline is human potential meets AI, right? The That's our motto. We live by it. And we have already announced that by 28th of February,
Mhm.
which is exactly 5 months from today, I think,
Mhm.
on 28th of February 2025, we will become a 4-day week organization. Okay.
Interesting.
Because we want AI agents. So obviously, AI agents run within our organization also.
Mm.
If AI cannot give you work-life balance, if AI is going to make you more of a slave
Mm.
and make you do more work, what is the point of all this technology?
Right.
It has to make our lives better. And that really is a human first approach. Whether it is giving us work life balance, so work for 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever, work 4 days a week, go spend the rest of the time with your family or get a hobby or do something interesting, which would make you more creative as a person, which would enrich your mind so that you can come back and do better and bigger stuff on those 4 days that you work. So that is one. The second is obviously if you are working lesser number of hours and earning the same amount of money, the amount of money that you're making for the number of hours goes up. So you earn more, but you're
Mm.
working lesser, right? So we want people to be able to upskill, learn more AI skills, and infuse AI into their daily lives as a superpower when they are working to enable them to do more. If I do more, I'm more efficient, I'm more creative, I'm more strategic. I obviously have the ability to earn more,
Mm.
right? Now, a lot of people come and say, oh, but AI will take away a lot of jobs, right?
Mm.
AI is not going to take away jobs. People who know how to use AI will take jobs from people who do not know how to use AI.
Mm.
Yes, there are some jobs which are repetitive, mundane, do not require X amount of human capability and can be done faster by AI. Those jobs will go, but AI is creating new jobs as well, right?
Mm.
So the spectrum is very simple. There are some jobs which are getting eliminated, but at the same time, there are some jobs which are getting added. And everything else in between, if you don't upskill and learn how to leverage AI in your daily work life, you will lose your job to someone who knows how to leverage and use AI.
Mm.
And AI is not that complicated to use. We all know what ChatGPT has done.
Yes.
So, you know, yeah, that's what we mean by a human first approach. And of course, everything is meant to enrich our lives and not make them worse.
Understood. Uh, Tell us a bit about your personal journey as an entrepreneur. I think you were a founder of another two, three other companies which were into media and video production, filmmaking. How did you, jump into a AI field which is more into technology and very different from the field, the domain that you had worked on earlier?
Not so much, actually. Let me explain why. Firstly, this is my sixth company. Okay.
Wow.
Uh, I went bankrupt in one, which was the
Mm-hmm.
best thing that could have happened to me. A lot of lessons learned there. It teaches, you have to understand that when you're in your 20s and 30s, you don't think you'll ever die. You think you're invincible, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think as an entrepreneur, I needed that knockdown,
Mm-hmm.
to say that you can't take success for granted, and it can be sort of taken away anytime. So you can never be complacent in business. That is
Mm-hmm.
point number one. The business, so I studied right from school. I studied computer science,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always keen on technology, but I had a passion for entertainment. So when the first when we start my career started, what about 20 well 9 years ago, I chose entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
But what was really good about what I did then was that I used the latest technology to create the most kick-ass products as far as entertainment were concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always at the forefront of using the best technology. So, for example, I mean, I'm not comparing myself to James Cameron here, but
Mm-hmm.
would you call James Cameron a technologist or a filmmaker? Because
Yeah,
he created new technology for Avatar, right?
correct.
So uh, media is a very interesting space to be in because it's a great confluence of technology and creativity. And your technology enables you to be as creative as you can, right?
Mm.
Uh, so the fact that you have such a kick-ass camera on a phone today has spawned so many YouTubers. So
Right.
technology leads the revolution as far as entertainment is concerned. While I had a film company, I had um, production company. At the same time, we also launched a video technology company. The video
Mm-hmm.
technology company essentially uh, it was way before its time. It was during 3G, when 3G had just come. It was
Hmm.
in fact called Yell Out, and it
Mm-hmm.
was exactly like what TikTok is today.
Okay.
Not exactly, but almost, right? So it was short format video and all of that. So it was both a B2B and it was a many to one broadcasting platform as opposed to a YouTube or anything else, which is a one to many, right? So it was reverse broadcasting. And that really brought me closer from media into technology.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spent a few years being retired and then came back to technology with Kogo, where we decided that we will use AI to actually change the way few industries are sort of perceived and processes are run. So we decided to jump in to AI as far as travel and mobility were concerned,
Mm-hmm.
because those were tough and big use cases. And then once we sort of achieved some traction there, moved into other spaces.
Got it. Uh, was ChatGPT a inflection point? Because before ChatGPT, there were very less number of foundational models that you can rely upon to build solid platforms on top of that. So, how did you or your company transition from pre-ChatGPT period to the post-ChatGPT period?
So that's actually a great question. We started pre-chat GPT. Uh, we actually used to do what was known as computational linguistics, okay, and narrative intelligence, which is a precursor to Gen AI,
Hmm.
okay. So we were actually already doing that stuff. And when ChatGPT came, and we actually even we knew what was happening in the GPT world when GPT-2 trials were happening. Nobody had even heard of ChatGPT.
Hmm.
Um, the world has split into two pieces: pre-chat GPT and post-chat GPT. Okay, it
Hmm.
is not just an inflection point in our company's life, it is an inflection point on this planet, period.
True.
Okay, so of course, we had the added advantage that we were already working on stuff which was, I wouldn't call it a foundational model, but I would call it, you know, a data set led narrative intelligence kind of a model, right? So we understood that world, and it actually, the moment ChatGPT happened, it was very easy for us to very quickly get into the game because we understood it from beforehand. So we had a added advantage, and of course, it was a great inflection point. We were very happy. We said, "Great, we don't need to, build certain things. It's built here." Right? Everybody doesn't need to build everything. So yeah, it was a great inflection point for the world and for us, definitely, no doubt.
Any did you witness any significant jump in the revenue? Because now what has happened, every company, even all the Fortune 500 companies now have a AI motion. Everybody wants to adopt some or the other form of AI. Even government agencies want to do at least something into the AI. So did it have any impact on your business as well?
Yes, it did. However, the real impact for any business and any AI practice is not yet started, Priya. Let me tell you. Because it has, even today, when we started this interview, there is a huge gap in the cognitive understanding of what AI can do.
Hmm.
Governments, businesses, enterprises, with all the consulting firms in the world putting their head together, really don't know how or where to start leveraging AI.
Hmm.
So the real revenue of AI, I mean, we've not even touched the tip of the iceberg, right? Will start kicking in. And that's where the entire AI agent framework sort of started rising out of the water. Because at first nobody really understood. अब क्या करें इसका? We've got this. What do we do with it? Right?
Right.
And that's when the agentic framework happened. And that's when this whole thing sort of really pushed up. Now that the agentic framework is here to stay, and companies like ours are leading this revolution in creating AI agents, now is when the revenue is really going to kick in. We are privately held, so we don't reveal numbers, but needless to say, I mean, the multiple in revenue between then and now is obscene.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So yeah, there's a huge, huge upside.
My final question before we end the discussion. So India, I think I read it somewhere in a report by Bain and Company. I think that India is now third in the race of AI, and you can see in all the new companies in AI coming up like Kritrim and Bhasini by the which is initiative by Indian government. So these sort of initiatives are coming up, but my opinion is that they are nowhere close to what the Chat GPTs or Geminis of the world are. So tell us what is your view of, or what is your take on how Indian AI companies will evolve? What will be the role of India in AI domain for next 5 to 10 years? And what other possibilities are you seeing in this space?
See, I don't know about 10 years. I don't even know about 5 years. I can tell you about 2 years. Okay. Essentially, because it's a crazily changing landscape. But if anybody thinks that they are going to build foundational models like the Metas and the Amazons and the Googles and the OpenAIs of the world have built, if they think they are going to build foundational models like that in India, we are hugely mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is that we just don't have the resource for it. We're not talking intellectual capital. We just don't have the compute for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not a matter of brains, it's a matter of resource, money, etc., etc., etc. I mean, they're spending trillions of dollars just buying GPUs. We don't even have that many GPUs, 1/10 of those as one of those companies possesses. Forget the country as a whole.
Right.
Uh, I Krutrim is not a foundational model. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the various pieces that are being built here. Now, I'll tell you where the real India advantage is. The real India advantage is being able to leverage those foundational models.
Mm-hmm.
The real India advantage is being in creating small language and tiny language models which can run on the edge. We don't have to be, we don't have to ape everything they do. They've created large language models. Fine, great, good for them, good for the world. Everything is great. But when you actually look at application in enterprise, in government, you're going to need more and more things which can run on the edge, which can run on prem. And for that, really, you need fine-tuned small language models that can run without going to the internet, or tiny language models that can run on a small chip on a rugged Android device which is not connected to rest of the world. Think defense, think government, think local governance, and so on, within closed loop networks. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where India's ability, I think, outstrips the ability of the others. We have the intellectual capital, and we have very unique use cases here as a country, right?
Mm-hmm.
That enables us to apply this, and also the agentic framework will flourish in this country. You will find more and more companies in the space that we are in, and more companies starting to build both horizontal and vertical AI applications. That's the sweet spot for India. Yeah, somebody somewhere when you have enough money, I mean, the government has a AI initiative, but get me 200,000 GPUs tomorrow morning. There's
Hmm.
enough brains to do it. We just don't have that resource right now. So I don't think we should chase a pipe dream and think that we will create the next big foundational model and get all macho and jingoistic about it. I think we can do far more than in the application of AI in this country than most other countries can do. And I speak of this by experience because as a AI agent platform, we have customers and clients in India and in the US. You would be amazed the complexity of the use case here and how we're able to solve it versus say in the US is worlds apart. And they it takes very less on the agentic framework to actually surprise somebody in the US. Oh, AI could do this, but that's
Hmm.
not the case here in India.
Understood.
So that's where the opportunity is.
Got it. Well, I think we are at the end of the session. Thanks for joining us, Raj. It was such an insightful session for me personally, and I am sure our audience will also get a lot of value out of it. Thanks for joining us, and my best wishes for Kogo.
Thanks, Priya, and thanks for a nice and engaging conversation. And I look forward to seeing more of your episodes. All the best to you and to all your audience.
Thank you. Thank you, Raj.
Thank you.